If you're like me, there's two versions of you that exist in this world. The first version is the version of you, the person that you'd like to be. The person that wakes up before sunrise, the person that works out, the person that reads books, the person that has an amazing social life, the person that sets goals and achieves them. But of course, if you're like me, you're more likely the second version of the person that sets a morning routine but then fails to keep up with it during his vacation, the person that works out every once in a while, the person that can forget to reply to a message he received 5 days ago, and of course the person that sets goals, has a system, has it all laid out for about 3 weeks and then fails to keep track and loses discipline halfway through. Now, of course, the only difference between the former person and the latter person is one key thing: discipline. It's currently 5:30 a.m. right now and it's pitch black outside. The last time I was this early, this dark, was I think before my month-long vacation during Christmas. You see, the first version of me that I was talking about earlier does exist. He's not a fantasy. He exists in bursts of motivation. The problem is that the second version comes around and takes over more often than the first version gets to stick around. I remember when I was in school, I used to think having a daily routine in your life was for lame old people who weren't creative enough to live spontaneously, live life in the moment. And because I thought it was uncool, I grew up well into college without a set routine, without a set system, which looking back now severely handicapped my growth as a person and really took away from the lead I had in school. Because I was a pretty good student initially, but at the same time I was lazy. So I just coasted off of the good grades I got and never really put in any work or any discipline into how I studied. Which meant that when it was time for me to start getting serious, I had no idea of what to do and how to go about achieving my goals. Now I know that the first person does exist. He's not a delusion or part of some wishful thinking. Oh, I hope I can be that person someday. No, he existed literally a month ago. I have physical records of that in my journal. And that's why I'm so confident that I can bring him back. And that's why I'm up to date. It's not some hopeless dream that I hope to achieve. It is something that I already have done and I can do. The only thing I require is to create systems and routines to make sure that the first person wakes up every day in that bed, not the second one. Is that a kingfisher outside my window?
Well, the image is a bit blurry. The combination of colours and shape strongly suggests it's a white-throated kingfisher.
Well, what do you know? We finally got out of the house at around 8. We're lucky to have such a beautiful place to be walking. This is my first time coming here actually, because I usually take the main road for running. And since today was Ria's first day coming out with me in the morning, and I haven't run full speed for like a few weeks, I thought we'll take it slow and ease into it today, just walk instead of run. I've noticed that when I don't start my day off correctly, as in I don't go out, get some sun, get some fresh air in the morning, the whole day kind of gets lethargic. I've talked about this in the video where I explained why I run, but in short, it feels like getting this objective out of the way, getting that exercise, early morning exercise out of the way, just sets you off on this domino effect where you see one big task done and then the rest of the day just feels much more easier. The rest of the routine just feels much more achievable. And that's why I think I have to get really serious about getting out and doing this every day. Look, it's a little pond. I feel like when you start off your day early, like it's like almost like a cheat code. Right now it's almost 9. Usually we'd be waking up around this time. I've already been up for like 3 hours and I've done so much. I've shot a bunch of this video already and planned for the rest of my day. And I've pooped already. So that's a lot of important things out of the way. And it's like I have 2 days in one, you know. Try and reach this with your head.
How about I film you?
Huh? I mean, I can reach it. You do it.
Why don't you show me how to do it?
This is not that hard. Maybe that one was a challenge. One day I'll reach that. We actually ended up walking more than we intended to. I think it was about 7,000 steps and 6.5 or 6.9 kilometers. Now the hard part is, of course, making it a habit, making it a daily thing. And the way that that's going to happen is to replace the bad habit that we actually have right now, which is waking up late or not going to exercise. Because I think I read somewhere, I don't know who wrote this, but it said that the only way to eliminate bad habits is to replace them with good ones. And the best way to stay on top of your habits is to track them. What I used to do when I was first maintaining a running habit was I maintained a running log. So I had this notebook, and every time I ran, I logged in, basic stats like how fast I was running, things like how I felt after a run or any highlight, like for example, I beat a record. And initially it was a little tough trying to set this habit, but as the days went by, the habit of noting it down and seeing the progress over time and things like that encouraged me to run even more. So I would run harder, run more regularly, because I wanted to log it in to my running notebook. And this habit of tracking my runs became linked to my habit of running. And ever since I stopped tracking my runs, I haven't been running as well. So you see how those are interlinked. So today I asked Ria to come sit down with me because we both want to improve our habits. To do that, we're kind of creating the system so that we keep each other accountable. So what I used to do before was have a daily checklist. It included a social goal, it included a physical goal, and it included a skill goal. I think tracking it over time would be a better way. So I'm kind of restructuring the format. We'll kind of make it into a weekly goal checklist kind of thing. So we've kind of made our daily tracker. Now what we'll need to do is every week come back to it and reassess, right? So we've dated it 7th, so we'll come back on the 14th of February and reassess the daily tracker and see how we're doing. Besides that, I'll also be doing, I don't know if Ria you want to do it, but I'll also be doing like morning meditations, which I usually do when I wake up. I'm not actually meditating, I'm just writing on my journal whatever thoughts I have in my mind. I dump it as soon as I wake up. So it's just ramblings, no one should read them, but that's what I do. And at night, every end of the day, what I want to do is I want to do nighttime reflections, which is I just write one line about each of these things, so each of the goals, what was the goal progress, what was the highlight of the day, if anything special happened that day, and what was the surprise of the day, if anything surprised me that day. So it's just like a daily tracking thing, because like I've written in the front page of my journal, I've written this quote. It's by Seneca. It says, "I will keep constant watch over myself, and most usefully will put up each day up for review. For this is what makes us evil, that none of us looks back upon our lives. We reflect only that which we are about to do, and yet our plans for the future descend from the past." So I guess it's evil if we don't look back upon our own lives. So now that we've put it all on paper, the only step remaining is to, schedule it. What I use is this calendar called Notion Calendar. You can use it on any Google Calendar or anything. What I like to do is block out time everything, for every single thing. You can see I have blocked out my breakfast, lunch, dinner, the time I wake up, the time I run, so that it appears on my phone as a notification. It shows reading time. It's the time for me to read a book. But of course, I don't end up following every single thing to a T. It's a good guideline to start off. One of my goals now is to make sure I stay on this calendar so that I can set out time for my relationships, for my friendships, for my work commitments, and make sure I don't end up in a position where I was during vacation, whereas there's no set time for me to start working and no set time for me to relax. The idea is to provide some sort of structure that I can rely on, that I can switch off my brain and follow. What happens most of the time when you're doing creative work is you end up spending a lot of brain energy and creative energy trying to organize your time and routines and shooting videos on a daily basis and keeping up with the daily routine is very hard because it's easy to go either way. You can be so focused on your daily tasks that you don't leave any flexible space for creativity, or on the other side you end up on this super creative zone where you're not doing the tasks that you really have to do, like let's say maintaining relationships outside of work. So yeah, my objective is to have a more balanced, well-rounded, disciplined life, and this is what I hope will end up helping me. I've not gone into too much detail into what exactly I'm doing because of course I'm also trying it out. Maybe if it's successful, I'll share a more detailed breakdown of what I do maybe in a future video. But for today I was very sick, so I thought I'll just do something at home. And I hope this was a little insightful. If you want to know why I think running is so good for something like this to stay productive, you can always watch this video. So yeah, thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, and thank you to all the members once again. See you tomorrow.